Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Equality Cages 118. Now, if you take a look at the back catalogue of the channel and you check for Equality Cages, you're going to see that the last one that we've actually done was 107. So yeah, guBBLOR has been exceptionally busy. We're all the way up to 18 right now. Now, the reason we're jumping from 107 to 118 is a little bit embarrassing. So all along, I've been planning to finish this series. I really would hate to leave it unfinished. And all the puzzles that we have featured from Equality Cages, in my opinion, so far have been just absolutely phenomenal. Now, I've been sort of making the assumption that guBBLOR has generally made Equality Cages relatively easy puzzles, 1-star difficulty rating. So I didn't even really check them out for the weekend. And then as I was planning sort of the next weekday puzzle, I went back through the catalog, trying to figure out what is the next Equality Cage puzzle we need to do. And absolutely every single one of them was quite a difficult puzzle. 2 stars, 3 stars sometime. And I was thinking, oh, ouch. You know what assumptions make of you. So really the first easy puzzle that I actually was able to return to from that series is 118. And we've got, well, now a backlog of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 that we need to work through over the next, well, I'm guessing many, many weekends at this point. So apologies for that. Of course, you're welcome to take a look at them yourself, but I will certainly feature them at some point. As I said, I would hate to leave this series unfinished. Now, if you see there in the thumbnail, not only are we taking a look at a whole bunch of cages that are equal in size, we're also taking a look at a number of cages that somehow, but not quite, are consecutive. So for this particular puzzle, guBBLOR has essentially blended Equality Cages with the consecutive line set, which I'll put up on the screen right now. So we've got Equality Cages and some equally consecutive lines. You may remember these from another set that I featured recently. I'll make sure that I sort of link it up here somewhere so that you can also explore these consecutive line sets. They're absolutely phenomenal as well. Now, the rules are quite lengthy, as you can see. I've actually had to decrease the font size substantially to fit them on the screen. So if I try and take you through them reasonably quickly, and we can crack on with the solve. Now, first rule, pretty simple. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 through to 9 in each empty cell, and digits cannot repeat within the same row, such as the row I have in here. Every column, and I can't even select one, that's a column, or every 3x3 box. Then we have the equality cages. I'm going to come back to equality and consecutive sums last. Let me just touch on Kropki dots. You're going to be very familiar with these. A black dot between cells indicates cell values with a 2-to-1 ratio. If that's a 2, for example, that could be 1 or 4 to make sure that is indeed in a 2-to-1 ratio. A white dot between cells indicates cells with a consecutive value. So if that's the 2, that would have to be a consecutive cell to make sure that the white Kropki dot is correct, and that would be 1 or 3. You can barely see the 2, so I'm just going to write that in actually. Then we also have x's. So adjacent cells connected with an x must sum to 10, and not all x's are shown. Also, not all dots are shown. So this x down, actually this x here now that is limited to 1 or 3, it means that together with this cell, these 2 cells must add up to 10. If that's a 1, that would have to be a 9. If that's a 3, that would have to be a 7. And then that would be valid pencil marking for this x. So equality cages first, then consecutive sum lines. Equality cages, if you haven't played equality cages before, I would recommend start with Equality Cages 101. I'll link it up there. Go and explore that first if you haven't played them. Cages must have an equal number of low, as in 1, 2, 3, or 4, and high, 6, 7, 8, or 9 digits, as well as an equal number of even, so 2, 4, 6, 8, or odd, 1, 3, 7, 9 digits. Equality cages can never contain 5, and digits may not repeat in a cage. So if I try and sort of demonstrate this without solving it, let's just take this as an example. If that was a 2, that's a low even digit. To make sure that I have an equal number of low and high digits, this is clearly going to have to be a high digit. To make sure I have an equal number of even and odd digits, given the 2 is an even digit, this has to be an odd digit. So this would be 7 or 9. And that's true for any size cages. If there are 4 cells, essentially you're going to have 2 low digits, 2 high digits, as well as 2 even digits, 2 odd digits. Now, the last rule before we can actually get on with the solve is the consecutive sum line. Now, essentially, digits along consecutive sums, they kind of work like sum lines, normally these sort of blue lines that you see, except in here it is consecutive. So imagine that this in here is adding up to 6 with 1, 2, and 3. The next cell along has to be consecutive to the total, the 6. So that could be a 5 or a 7, as in 5 is consecutive with 6 or 7 is consecutive with 6. We don't know if this is 5 or 7. This line along here, these 2 cells that make up the sum of this consecutive sum line, have to be something that is consecutive with 5 or 7. That could be 6, that could be 8, that could even be as low as 4. So these 2 cells have to add up to something that is consecutive with 5 and 7. And, continue and so on and so forth. So these consecutive sum lines, they really play beautifully. And I'm really interested to see how this combination actually plays. Now, the only thing left to say is, if you're up for giving this a go, link will be in the description down below for you to play along as usual. And the only thing left for me to do now is restart the clock and see how I get on. So, because I've played a few equality cages by now, and it took me a very long time to actually learn this, a black Kropki dot within a cage can only ever be 3, 6. Now, the reason for that is, remember, the equality cage has to have 1 low digit and 1 high digit. So immediately, from all the possibilities of a black Kropki dot, we've limited ourselves to 3 and 6, as well as 4 and 8. Any other black dot combination or pairs are obviously going to be both low digits, such as 1 and 2, or even 2 and 4. That would break the equality cage requirement. Now, from these options, only one of them has an odd and an even digit, and that's the 3, 6. So 4, 8 would break the equality cage once again. So that's not, that can only be 3, 6. That totals us up to 9, which helpfully tells us that this is going to be a total of 10. The reason I say it's 10 because it's 4 cells long. The minimum is indeed 10 with 1, 2, 3, and 4. I couldn't make this an 8 sum on 4 different cells. Whatever this cell is, it has a black Kropki dot pair that is a high digit. Because I've already used all the low digits of 1, 2, 3, 4, so this can only be from 1 and 2. This is 3 and 4 with a 6 or 8. I probably can take this a bit further. Let's think about this. So the x, whatever it may be, let's say this is 2 and 8, would present 2 even digits. And then I would have to put 2 odd digits on here, which is impossible. So I think this has to be 2 odd digits and this has to be 2 even digits to make the equality cage work. Put it a different way, the polarity across the x has to be the same. I can't put a 2, for example, in here with a 7. They're not going to add up to 10. The polarities are going to have to match. And because the polarities are going to have to match, they're both going to have to be odd because I can only make 2 evens in here. So if I just delete this, that forces this to be a 4. That is an 8. That now has to be an odd digit, so not 2 or 4, and it's joint with 7 or 9. On this side, I've placed the 4, so 4 goes away, and I know there's definitely a 2. Well, this is consecutive, so that's placed. I don't know why I was even thinking about it. That's not a 3. Sorry, that's not a 1. These are not 3. That 3 gives me the 6. I've got digits, 2 minutes in. And we're really off to the races at this point. We need something that is consecutive with a 7 across here. It could be 6. No, it can't. Or an 8. That's an 8. In an equality cage, I now need a low odd digit. And it can't be a 3. That's a 1. That's a 2. This is going very well. Famous last words, you know. Let's see, what else do I know? What else do I know? Kind of wondering, should I be sort of trying to solve this black Kropki dot next? Because the options are, and there's not many options, it's 4 or 6. If that's a 4, that would be an 8. If that's a 6, that would be a 3. Reason I'm saying there isn't many options is, you know, this cell can see 1, 2, 8, and 3. So from the black Kropki dot set, which includes the 4 and 6, this is the only ones that are available. Now, if that's a 6, that's a high even digit. I would need a low odd digit. 1 and 3 are not available, so that doesn't work. That has to be a 4, therefore this has to be an 8. The 4 has to be joined with a high odd digit. That can only be 7 or 9. I'm pretty sure that is a 9. No, it doesn't have to be. Essentially, this sum, this consecutive sum, has to be consecutive with whatever digit this is. If I put a 7 in here, I'm already at 8, plus another digit. It's going to put me at 9 or beyond. It's not going to be consecutive with the 7. So that is indeed a 9. This now adds up to 8 or 10. Well, it's already got an 8. It's not going to be 8. That's a 2. That's 10. That's a single digit. Has to come back down to a 9. I can't go up to 11. And I feel like, you know, we're almost exhausting our options on this corner in here. You can see that there's a 9 there. Just Sudoku. And therefore a 9 in here between these 9s. I'm kind of tempted to sort of go elsewhere at this point, because, you know, that's a very long consecutive sum line that I really want to also think about and explore. In particular, actually, I don't know why I didn't even start my break-in in here. That looks very tricky to achieve. And I'm pretty sure the only way I can achieve this would be 4, 6, and 5. So essentially, each branch of this consecutive sum line is a different total. So you need something, 2 digits, with a digit between them, so that they can all be consecutive. So essentially it's going to be 4, 5, and 6, or 4, 5, and 6, to make sure that these two cells add up to 10. And you know, the difference can only be a 1 between all of these, so I couldn't have done 3 and 7, for example. There's no way I would have found a digit that is consecutive to both the 3 and the 7. So that is forced with 4, 6, and that's forced to be a 5. That is now, I'm pretty sure, that's the 6 and that's the 4. The reason I say that is the minimum equality cage that you can make is 1 and 6. Essentially, 1 low odd digit. I need now 1 high even digit. So that gets me to 7 as the absolute minimum you can ever put in a 2-cell equality cage. 7 is consecutive with 6. That's forced. So that's not going to have a 9 in here. That's got to be the 6 to be consecutive to the 7. That's the 4. This is now, because that's a 7, this is 6 or 8. You can see they are both high even digits. I need a low odd digit that isn't 3. That's a 1. What can these be? And I need something that is consecutive, mind you, with 6 and 8. And I think it's going to have to be the 7 with a 2, 4 in here. Let me just think about options. So 5 clearly in 3 cells doesn't work, so that's ruled out. 7 works with a 2, 4. That's one option. Can I do 9? That would require this to be a 6, and then 2, 4 doesn't work. Excuse me, let's try that again. Can I do 9? That would require these two cells to add up to 8. 2, 4 is too low. 3, 6, which is the next set of black Kropki dots, is too high. That's 9 plus the 1, that would be 10. So yeah, this is 7, which unfortunately doesn't give me what this is, but tells me I've got 2 low even digits. I need 2 high odd digits. That 9 actually tells me the order. That's the 7, that's the 9. 1, 6 in here. Yeah, that's forced. So think about the other low equality cages that this can be. Essentially add 1 to both digits. And the next one along would be 2, 7. Any other equality cages will be too big. So, if I go one more, let's say 3, 8, that would be 11. What consecutive sum can I put on a single cell that would be consecutive to an 11? And the answer is none. That's 2, 7. Because this is now a 9, this is 6 or 8 again. No, sorry, this is 9. That's 8 or 10. That's got to be the 8, which gives me a 6. Is there anything else I know at this point? Not really. And what are these cells? Let's have a think about them for a second. These cells are 3, 5, and 6. And I can see 6 is neither of these cells because of these 6s. That's the 6. These are from 3s and 5. That is not a 3, that's just a 5. That's a 3. These two cells are either 4 or 6. And the way to get to 4 is forced with 1, 3, which works. The other option would be to get to 6. And 2, 4 as an option is not available. I couldn't use 2, 4, but I could do 1, 5. So essentially I could have a 5 in here with a 1 in there. In both scenarios, there's definitely a 1 in between these two lines or these two cells. This is either adding up to a 5 or a 7. I don't think I can do a 5 because a 5 can only be done in one of two ways. 2, 3, not available. 1, 4, also not available, well, as well as the 1s. So this has to add up to a 7. And the fact that 1 is not available tells me 1, 6 is not available. 2, 5 looks possible, and 3, 4 is not available. So I need a 2 and a 5. This 1, 2 pair tells me the order. That's the 2, that's the 5. Kind of nearly done with equality cages at this point, aren't I? 5's not here. This is a 5, 9 pair. That can only be now a 6, which gives me this 1 and 6, which also plays back in here. That's not the 1, that's the 1. I know what these two cells are. I may as well just finish it. One of them has to be an 8. It's not this one. That's the 8. That I assume is a 7 to finish the column. In here I need 3, 5, and 6, I'm going to say. 3 and 6 can't be this cell. That's a 5, which gives me the 9 and the 5. These are a 3, 6 pair. That 6 tells me the order. That's a 3, that's a 6. I know what this digit is. That's a 7. Then I have a triplet here that I know, which is 1, 4, and 9. 1, 4, and 9. That's not 9. That's not 1. And unfortunately, that could be anything. 7 gives me the 2, though, on this 2, 7 pair, which gives me a 4 and a 2, which gives me this 1. Does it give me anything else? No, the 4 9s are still not resolved. That's okay. I know what these are. This is 5, 6. This 5 and this 6, for that matter, actually gives me the order. That's 5 and 6. 1 I can see is up here. 3 is also up here with a 4 or 9. And then down here I have an 8. That's as far as I can take it, it seems. This 1 gives me the 2, the 1, this 3, 5, still not resolved. This is interesting though. So I've got 9, 8, and 7 all looking into this cage, which needs a high digit. And the only one that's available now, given 7, 9, and 8 see both of these cells, is 6. And that 6 tells me the order. That's a 6. That needs to be now a low odd digit. 3 is not available. That's a 1. Complete this column. I need a 3, 5 with an 8, I'm going to say. Well, that 8 can't be in here. That's the 8. That's a 3 because of this 5. That's a 5. Yeah. And we're kind of close to bringing this all home. Can I just... I mean, I haven't really thought about the composition of this box. I need 2 odd digits. and it needs to be one low odd digit and one high odd digit. The low odd digit is not a 1, so I need a 3 in here, and it's clearly not consecutive with a 6. That's in there. Now I need a high odd digit, which is 7 or 9, but it needs to be consecutive with a 6. That's a 7. Now I know what these two cells are. These are 5 and 9, and nothing tells me the order. That's okay. And then I know what these are. It's taking me a moment to sort of realize what they are, though. 9 is one of them. No, 5, 9 again. Okay. So whatever is breaking this pattern, it is clearly the consecutive sum line, which we're going to have to use, I suspect, soon enough. These three, let's just kind of see what the options are. I've got 2, 4, and 7, I'm going to say. Well, this 2 tells me the 2 is up here. This is 4, 7. I'm just going to write the options. These are 4, 7s. These three now are from 1. Well, the 1 is here because of this 1. Then I need a 2. And again, the 2 is in there. Because of this 2, I should be able to write this in as an 8. 8 is clearly not consecutive with a 5. So that's got to be the 9. That's a 5. 9. 5. And then that 9 needs to be consecutive with a 10. That's a 2, that's a 1. That's not 1, that's the 1. That's not 1. These are from 4 and 9 still. Almost. Have I resolved the 3? Yes, I have resolved the 3. That's the 3, that's the 4 or 9. That's the 4. That's the 9, that's the 4, that's the 9. Now I have 4 and 8. Again, that 4 is helping. That's a 4, that's an 8. This cell is the 4. Does this equality cage, I mean, like at this point, it's sort of pretty much solved, isn't it? So it's 2 with a 7. That's the 2. That's the 7. That was a 9. I don't know why I just removed that corner pencil mark there and totally ignored it. That's a 3. Not a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Is the 4 and 7 resolved? No, not yet. Let's just see if we can do a bit of Sudoku to finish this up. I need a 2 in here. I need a 4, which will help. That's a 7. That's a 4. 2 more digits, which is the 3 and 7. That's the 7. And if I've not made any mistakes, that's the 3 and the finish for today's puzzle. Yet another stunning equality cage, guBBLOR, and a lovely start to the week. Thank you so much for the series of puzzles. You know, I do promise to go back and feature the others. I'm really looking forward to these. But it's a lovely fusion of consecutive sum lines and equality cages, and you know, just phenomenal layout. I didn't really see this for a while for some reason. I just spotted this, I think, just working on memory, that this was forced to be 3-6, but having a couple of entry points is lovely nonetheless. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video, and I'll see you back for the next one. Bye-bye for now.